Hello guys, welcome back to the Python tutorial. So in this video tutorial I'm going to explain you the SQL in Python, how to connect SQL and how to use the SQL in the Python. So in order to use the SQL you have to install some of the libraries, and to connect the database we have the MySQL installer. So we have to install that, and then only we are able to create the make the connection to the database. So first of all, we have to install the locally database. Like in our case, I have installed the MySQL installer. That is the 8.2 versions. So after installing MySQL installer, sorry, after downloading the MySQL, we have to install. So once you have done the completion of installation, we have to in you have to import the, like, or you can install the connection, that is for connecting MySQL to the MySQL to the Python. From Python we have the some of the modules, like we have the MySQL connector is the. So by using MySQL connector we can connect from Python ID to the MySQL locally. So in my case I am using the Python ID to demonstrate these examples. So before connecting and before connecting to the database, let us understand, like, some basic about the database, like why we need the database. So for developing any applications we need the database to store the information and to retrieve the information. So this is the like for any transactions and all we require the databases. Now I'll going to explain it, like in Python we have the Python support, like MySQL and MySQLite and MongoDB. These three databases are supporting. Even we can use the PostgreSQL also. So in our case, in I am using the MySQL database. To use the MySQL database we have to install the MySQL connector. So let us say, I'll show the command to install the MySQL connector. So to connect to the database, first we have to install the MySQL connector. So command to install MySQL connector is, so python -m pip and then pip install MySQL connector. So now I will show in the command prompt how to install this. So now open the PyCharm ID, and then type the command called. So this is the command python -m pip install MySQL connector. So by typing this command you are able to install the MySQL connector. So to connect with the MySQL installer, or then see I'm installing the MySQL connector here. So type the command called python -m pip install MySQL connector. So this is the command to install the MySQL connector to connect from database. This is the from PyCharm ID to the database locally. So see you can see the this is requirement is already satisfied, which means I have already installed. So you will if you are not installed, you will install by using this command. So next, once you have installed this MySQL connector, next step is to you can, like, you can you have to use make the database connections. So like in database, to connecting database from Python to the database, like local database, we have the four steps. So we have to follow the four step. First step is to we have to import the MySQL connector module. So as I mentioned here, first we have to install that connector. Once we have installed the connector, we have to make the connection to the model. Next step is we have to create the connection object. So once you have created the connection object, that it will interact with the database. So after creating the connections, we have to create the cursor. Like, to cursor mainly used to execute the some of the queries. For executing queries we are using the cursor here. So we have to, after the making the connection object, then we have to install the create the connection cursor object. So once cursor object is created, by using cursor object we can execute the queries. So fourth step is the executing the query. So next I'm going to explain you, like, for creating the connections, we already I explained you, like creating connections we have to give the, like, I will explain you the syntax of how to create connections. So I will show this syntax for how to create connections. Now I will write in the note section so that you can understand here. So this is the my syntax for creating the connections. For creating connections, this is the my connection object, and mysql dot connect dot connector connector dot connector, this is the function. By using this function I am able to connect it. So this is the host name, means which system this is a host name, in the sense it is my host name is the local host name. So means I'm using the locally database, means I am installed the database locally in my system. So host name becomes my local host, or we can specify the like IP address of the local host, that is 127.0.0.1, that is the local host type the IP address. And next we have to mention the username of the database. Like when we are creating the database, it will ask the create user. So at that time you are creating the user for the database administrator. So here we have to mention the database user admin name. So this is the parameter. Next we have to pass the password, like in password. So whenever you are creating a username, that will be creating the one user separately for the user, for that username, that is like a main admin user, like that has the all the permissions of the database activities, like performing, updating, deleting. So this is called the db admin. So database admin is the, here we have to mention the all the credential to in order to access the database. So this is the fast wd is the keyword here. So we have to take as it is, and we have to mention the password. So now I will show you sample example how to connect with the database. So now uh, I will create the, so I will create the connections here now. So I open the PyCharm ID, and so I will create a Python file. Uh, yeah, create Python file. Next, I will show how to connect with the database. Now first here as I already explained, we have to follow the 4 steps. So first one is we have to import the, so I already explained, first I have to import the connector model, so that is MySQL connector model. Then after that we have to create the connection object, then we have to create the cursor object, then we have to execute the query. So now I will show you how to import the MySQL connector module. So in order to connect to the database, so we have to command called import mysql dot connector. So this is the my command to connect to the database. And next, after the importing the my connections, we have to create the and we have to create the like connecting to the database, means we have to pass the username, password, and host. So like now I will make the connections. To make connection we have to create one object here, that is, so I am creating. Now I will show how to create and how to. Okay, now I will show how to create the connections here. Next step is I'm creating the connection object. We have to use the, this is my con is the my connection object. Okay, I'm creating my connection is equal to mysql dot connector dot connect is the method. So by using these we are creating the connections. So next I have to pass the, so I have to pass here host name, that is host is equal to local, in my case local host I'm using in a local host because I have installed in my system, locally installed database I'm accessing. So local host is my host name, and I have to pass the username. As I already explained, username I have to pass. Username is equal to, so my username is root, and the password, next we have to pass the password as I explained. PASSWD is the password here. Password is equal to, so we can pass your password as I have created password, my own password, so I'm providing. Next we have to create the cursor object, like as I explained. Next third step is the create the cursor object. I will creating now cursor is equal to, cursor is equal to my connection dot. So this is the connection object with my sorry my connection dot connection dot cursor. Sorry, I'm taking cursor here. So cursor, this is I created the cursor. Now I will after creating we can perform the any query. Now I will use the try catch block, so if any error occurs means we can easily. So now I will use the try block here now, and I will execute the sum of the that, like simple example is I'll show the list of databases which is already installed. Like in, well, when you are installed a database, it will automatically install by default. Some of the databases will be present in the database, and some of the table even also present. So now I will show the list of databases which are already installed, or already I have created. So we have this is my dbs is the my reference variable. I have to execute with the help of cursor object. So as I showed, a cursor is used to execute the queries. Like now I will show cursor dot execute is my query, and I will show the all the database. The command is like in SQL, similar to the SQL, how we are displaying the database by using the show command. Here also same, we are using the to display the databases. Show databases is the command. And show databases. Now next I have to accept the exception if any error. Here I have to take the my connection dot rollback. Why rollback means I will explain in detail why, what is the mean by execute, what is mean by rollback. So these like rollback means if anything happened or any data loss, so that will be changed or roll automatically restored. So this is the reason we are using the rollback command here. Next I will use the for loop to print the for x in my connection, sorry, for x in cursor. So I will print the database, that is x variable. So in x variable all the data will be presented. Now I have to close the connection, that is my connection dot close. So this is the simple, I am showing the how to this is how to import the statement and how to connect to the database, and how to create the cursor object in order to fetch or in order to execute the query. So now I will show the how to this example. See, we are able to get the these are the my database. So these are the default database, and in this student I have created the database earlier. So before making this video I have created this database called student. So by default these are student, these database are available by the in MySQL installer. So now next I will I will explain the these commands, like why we are using the rollback, why we are using the execute command. So and so if now, so some of the like in basic I'll show you, like what why we were using the object cursor object, like why all the what is the important of this. So now like here we can show that we are using some of the methods. So now I will explain you the commit method. So why we are using commit, like Python provides main commit method, like whenever we are made some changes to the database, that should be reflected in the database, means it should be saved in the database. To reflect in database we are using the commit method here. When we are using commit method, whatever were made changes to the database, that will be stored or means saved in the database. So we have to use this you have to use with the connection dot commit method is there. So now I'll give the syntax how to use this one. So in node sections we'll use, so this is the connection dot commit to save the changes. And next method is we have the like rollback method, as I already explained. Like rollback method revert the any changes if we are done any changes to the database, so that will be reverted back to the database. Like it is useful when the like when some error occurs where do like if I example if I consider example if I'm performing any operation to the database, in that situation if I got any error, so I want the previous data only. So I do not want to modify or lose my old data, so that time I'm using the rollback command. So when I'm using rollback, that will be automatically it will be storing the data. So this is the rollback of all about the rollback command. So now I will mention here in note section. So we have to use it with the connection dot rollback. This is the connection dot rollback. Next we have the like we have to close the after creating the connection and performing the operations to the database, compulsory we have to close the connection to the database. So we have the connection dot close. So these are the important keys in the means keywords in the MySQL database. Now I will close the. So this is the connection that we have to use these to in order to access and perform any changes to the databases. Now next I will going to explain you the like we have means just we have made the connection to the database, and then after the making connection to the database we have we have not created any database here, means I'll not shown only about creating database and tables. Now I will perform the some of the operations in the database. Next I will show the how to create database. So I will create one database and I will show the how to create database by using PyCharm here in Python script. So now I will open my PyCharm ID here in that is demo.p file because I'm using here. So now I will create on the, so I will comment as of now I will comment this code. So to create database, we have the command called as a like similar to the SQL. So in SQL we have the command called create create database name. Similarly, same command we have to use, but with the help of cursor object we have to execute this command. So now I will show the how to create a database by using here in Python script. So to create database, we have the cursor dot execute. So as I already explained you, execute like it creates the reflection to the database, means I'm executing it. It says that I'm executing this query, so this reflection should be happen in the database. So command is similar to the SQL create database and database name. In my case, I will give the database name as so student or employee. EMP is my sorry. I will give database name EMP. Okay, my database name is EMP. Then after that, I have to close the connections. So now I will show how to. So I will use this command here, so that after that we can show the see the displayed. I mean created database. So I will uncomment this. Sorry. So I will uncomment this command and I will execute right now you can see the. So now I am creating the database called EMP. So now I will run this query. You can observe here in this I already shown in show database there is no table called there is no database called a student. So now I am creating the database called EMP. So here I am creating the new database called EMP. Now I will run the query. See See, you can observe here, emp is a new database I have created. The command is to create database with the database name. This is the, by using cursor object we have to create the database. So now we have learned the some like how to create a database. Now I will show how to create the table. So now after creating the table, we have to sorry, after creating the database we have to make use of that database. So it means like here I not mentioned any database names, which means I'm not using the any database here. Now I have to switch from the database. So I will switch to database. If I mention here database, in that database I'm creating table. It means if I mention here database is equal to, so database is equal to, this is emp. So in emp, now whatever operations I'm performing, that will be reflected in the emp database. So now I'm making use of emp database here. So you have to mention the database like this. And we have to create the table, like syntax is to create table name, similar to like how we are creating the table in the MySQL, same command, but only we have to create with the execution, that is cursor object. Through cursor object we have to execute. So now I will show how to execute how to create the table. So now I will comment this command. So okay, I'm creating the table called the employee. EMP is my database. In that, I'm creating the table called employee. So we have the attribute called name. So name is varchar, and it is not null, and ID is the integer field, and it is ID is in ID is primary key. So salary is the floating, and I have the department ID. So these are my fields. Now I will create a, sorry, we have to take here. Okay, this is the syntax to create the table in MySQL by using the Python script. Now I will run this command so that you can see the created data table in the inside the data EMP database. Now I will run this command. See, notice that I have created successfully table. So here nothing I got error because I successfully created the table. So now after creating table, next step is to we have to insert the values into the table. So we have the command to insert the data into the table is insert into table name and field, and then values, then whatever value you are want to insert, you can insert. So now I will show the how to insert the values to the database. So for that we are using the insert into statement, like similar to the SQL, how we are performing there in SQL. So now I will run here. I will comment this table creation. So the SQL is the like a object, and I'm insert into employee. So employee is my table name, and I have created the, these are the fields. These are field present in my table, and I'm using the values method. So by using values, I'm inserting the values. Like I want to insert something, Suresh. So these are the values I'm inserting into my table. So you can observe here. Here I'm created field is the name, and name ID is there. So ID is there here also, and salary is there. Salary also is there, and department ID is there. These are the four fields I'm inserting into my table, five with four values. So now I will, so after that as I explained, if anything want to if anything happen to be reflected in the database, then we have the comment command. So when we are using comment, then only it will store into the database. So for that we have to use the comment command. So here connection dot comment, we have to use that command. Sorry. my connection dot comment. So when you comment, then only the insert data will be inserted into the table, that is employee table. So now I will run the, so successfully inserted the these values in the database. Now I will show how to retrieve, means how to read the inserted values in the from the database. For that we have to use the like a select command, select like how you are using in SQL. Similarly we have to use the select star from and select star from employee. So this is the command to retrieve the data from the database. Now I will show how to read the data from the database. Like we have inserted some of the records into the database. Now I will show you how to read the data from the database in whatever the value we have inserted, those values. So for that we have the command called a select star from employee. So now I will use here. So I will cursor dot execute, and here is the command is select star from employee. This is the command. So next I have to iterate the loop, because I want to retrieve all the records or rows present in the employee table. So here we have to use the method called fetch. Fetch means it will retrieve the data from the database. If you are not using method here, retrieve means a fetch method, it will won't return any values. So in order to access the data from the database, we have the method called retrieve. So we have to use with the object. So result, I'm creating a taking one variable called result. So and I'm retrieving the fetching the values. My here cursor dot execute is the, sorry, cursor dot fetch all. So cursor dot fetch all is method. So you can fetch one value, you can fetch many value. So there are a number of options here. So now I want to fetch all the values. So for that reason I am using the fetch all here. So you can use fetch many, or if you want only one row from the database, you can use the fetch one method. Now I am showing you how to retrieve all the records from the database. Now I have to use the for loop here for x in result, and I am printing the x variable here. Now I'll comment as of now, I'll comment this code so that, so we have to use this command in try only. So if anything error is occurred, then only we have to use here. So here I will, so after fetching all, we have to use the, so right now I will comment this code because already I inserted the data, and I will remove here this one from the, and I am using this for loop in order to access all the rows from the database. So now I will going to run the command. So sorry, I'm not printing, just a minute. Okay, result is equal to fetch cursor dot execute employee. One second, I'm reading. Okay, select. So now I will comment this code so that you can understand easily. Because of this statement, it is I'm getting. So here I am using the EMP database, and I am executing the select star from employee. So my table name is employee. Okay, and I'm fetching all the values. So I'm taking my connection is equal to rollback. So this command I have need required, and I'm closing the connections. So I will comment this line not required as of now. Now I will run the, sorry, 1 second. So now, yeah, now I will inserted these values. So now I will show you how to display the inserted values from the database. So for that, to display the data, we have to read the data from the database. So for reading, we have the select command. By using select command, we are able to read the fetch the data from the database. So now I will show how to retrieve the data from the database. So as I already explained, we have the fetch all method. By using fetch all, we can display the get the result from the database. So now I have inserted these values from to the database, and I'm retrieving the command through called the select star from the employee. So and taking the result variable. I'm fetching the all the values. I'm storing the resultant in a result variable. I'm iterating that result. So whatever the values present in the result, I'm taking one by one and printing the here in the x variable. So now I will run this program. So you can see that this is the my inserted, this is the already old value inserted. So now recently I have inserted from the python script, you can observe here. So this is the my inserted values. So this is all about reading the getting the data from the database. So next I will show you. So next I will show you. I want a specific attribute means specific column want to be displayed from the database. So I don't want this whole values. So I want the only specific values. So for that we have to similar command, but only we have to mention the which attribute you want to display. So now I will show you. I will take cursor is equal to cursor dot execute, and I will mention here with which all attributes I want to retrieve from the database. So now I will take name and ID card. Select name, comma, ID from mention the table name. This is employees my table name. Now I will run the program so that you can observe. So only two values we are able to access. So this is the selecting only specific record from the database by using the column name of the that respective table name. And next, like we have the fetch one method. By using fetch one method, we can fetch only one row from the table. Means if I have multiple, so as in my case, I have inserted the two records, but I want only first record. So we can, like we have the fetch one method. By using fetch one method, I can retrieve the only one record from the database. Now I will show you how to use the fetch one method here. So we have create one variable called a result, and I'll store result is equal to and cursor dot fetch one. So here fetch one is the method to retrieve only one row from the database. Now I want to take all the values here. So I want only name from the employee table with only one row. So you can observe here. So if I want to take all the means, we have to use the star here. So this is the my like name is the, this is the ID is there, this is salary, and this is the department ID. So this is how to fetch one record, or we can fetch all the records, and we can fetch many records. And next one more command is we have the, so yeah, fetch one and fetch many also is there. So I will show you how to use that fetch many also. Result is equal to cursor dot. So here fetch many. So now I will run, I'm using fetch many. So you can see the if fetch many, it will give the in the format like it is like in the form of a tuple. So it returns the value in the form of tuple format. So now we have seen the fetch one method, fetch all method, and fetch many method. So next we are going to learn here like how to format the result. So if I want like a formatted result, so we have to use the some of the like a special formatting tags, like s for the string and d for the like percentage d for integer. So if I'm using the formatting string, we have to use the formatted variables here. So in order to access those things, so now I will show how to use the formatting here. So in order to access, I'm right now I will take name in formatting. So here I will use fetch all, and I will comment fetch many. So here for x we have to use the in order to for formatting purpose we have to use. So I will use for string we have to use the percentage s. This is the formatting tab, format for the string, and I'm taking a percentage d for the id. So I will take only one, two from the database, and I will have to use the this operator followed by the row number. We have to mention the row number. So first row number be here x, because my variable is x here. So x of 0 is my name here. So I will mention 0 and comma x of 1. So that is x of 1 means that is id card it will be getting. Now I have to close these things. So right now I will close the this. I will comment this the entire whole thing. So I want take only name and id. That is name and id. I am retrieving from the database by using the formatting result. So now I will run the program. So you can observe here. This is my name and IDs. This is the formatting, like formatting the result how we want in which format. So this is all about the formatting. Now I will use the where clause. Like in SQL, we are using the where clause for retrieve the specific kind of data from using the like where clause. So in the where clause, we can mention the conditions. Like if I want only the where now rule number is 1 or ID is equal to 10, so we can get the only specific ID. So now I will show how to use the where clause in my Python script. So now I want to retrieve only first name, that is or the ID. I'll take ID and I will retrieve only one data from the database. So now here I will use. So instead of that here, instead of selecting all and ID, so I will based on see ID 11 is the Suresh name. So I want to retrieve only Suresh name based on the where clause. So I will use here where clause. Select, so select star from employee is my table name. Employee here I have to use the where clause where ID is equal to 20. So this means I am using the where clause here and I am using the ID is equal to 20. My condition is where ID is 20. I want to get the that record details. So now I will retrieve the see, because I am using only formatted string, that's why it's giving me I'll use print all the whole things. I will print so that you can observe the all the result. See, and now I got the all the details. Now I will change to the 11, means the ID is 11 whose name whose ID is 11. So their ID detail will be getting. See, this is the record. So this is the usage of where clause in Python script in MySQL. Next, after the where clause, we have order by, like to sort the record from the database. We are using the order by, like if I want to sort by salary, like whose salary is greater than the 10,000, I want to sort. So by using order by clause, we can sort the data. Now I will use order by here. So I want to select star from employee. I will remove the where clause. So otherwise I will use one more, so that I'll write here cursor dot execute is my command, and so I'm selecting select a star from employee, and order I will use the order by keyword here. So to sort data, I will use the order by salary. So I want to sort according to the salary, and I will fetching the all the record from the database, and I'm printing the records. So you can observe here. So already salary is all salary are same only. That's why it's not giving any, like I will take a order by. So I will take order by this department ID, so that we can observe here dpt underscore id. See now you can see observe the output. The department ID is displayed first, because if you are not specifying any ascending and descending, it will take the ascending order only. So if you want, you can use the descending order as well. So by default, it will sort in ascending order. So this is the usage of order by operation. And now like we can use the like update operations, and like delete operations. So we can use the same as so now I will delete the one record from the table, and I will show how delete works in the Python. So see, we have the two records. So in two records I will delete the record number 2, that is here the Suresh name with ID 11. I will delete the record from the database. So to delete that one, we have to use the delete from employee. Like similarly, we have the SQL command, like how you are deleting the record from the employee from in MySQL. Similar command we have to use here. Cursor dot execute. So here delete is a command, and delete employee means this is delete from employee means I'm deleting from the employee. Delete from employee. Now I will put the conditions. So I want to delete where id is equal to, so I want to delete where id is equal to 11. So I want to delete where id is equal to 11. So now I can observe, sir. Now I will print the records. Like I will select the star from so that we can observe the result, whether the result displayed means whether I deleted record is displaying or not. So we can get to know that details. Now I'll print the cursor dot execute. So select here. I'm selecting all the select star from employee. So now we can observe, now I am deleting the ID number 11. So this should not be displayed once I run this code. See, that record has been deleted. Now only displaying only one record. This is the how to we delete the record from the database. And next, like next we can perform the join operations as well. How we are performing the right, like right join, left join, these kind of operations also we can perform here. So this is the basic about the Python, how to perform the all operations in Python by using the Python script. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have understand.